If you're an idiot running AI, then the product is going to be idiotic. But if you've got a smart team who knows the substantive area of law, family law, criminal law, whatever, right? This is a huge competitive advantage. Again, it gets you to your art faster. What am I all about? Like, build a firm that suits your life. Like, figure out what you want your life to be. You and your life partner, your spouse, whatever that arrangement is. Like, what do you guys want? You don't know how many days you have on earth. It's meant to be lived in your happiness. Let's be really clear on what that is. Now let's build a firm that supports that. Now let's go and attract a client that supports the firm that supports the life.
Sharp strategies, sweet success. Hello, everyone, and welcome. You're listening to Sharp Strategies, Sweet Success. I'm your host, Tiffany Swidensky. And today on the show, I have Ben Glass, who is actually a repeat guest, although he may not remember being probably one of the first people I interviewed on my podcast like a year and a half ago, maybe. But he's coming back. I actually had a chance to speak at a GLM boot camp, a digital marketing boot camp, just last week and had a really good time. A lot of good speakers there and just a room full of attorneys. And it was like being back at home because some of my listeners might know I worked for Ben for 7 years, actually. I had to think about it. So Ben gave me my early education into legal marketing and introduction in the mastermind groups, and very grateful for him for that. And today he's on our show talking to us about whatever Ben likes to talk about. And I'll turn it over to Ben to finish out his intro.
Oh, that's a nice intro, Tiff. And before we went live, we were just talking about what does my life look like right now. So for those who don't know me, I've been practicing for 42 years. I've run Ben Glass Law for 30, and we started literally me and one assistant working 4.5 days a week, not because we were on the 4.5 day work week, but because we didn't really have enough cases. And now we probably have 17 people running around here. Brian, my son, heads up the personal injury side. I do head up the long-term disability side, but basically I've coached up a great team, so I'm not that involved in litigated cases too much. I do a lot of consults. We're talking to 2 and 3 doctors a week. I've sort of built a niche to be the go-to guy for physicians across the country who have a new diagnosis and are thinking about tapping into their long-term disability insurance policies. So that's interesting. You know, Tiff, the other thing for me, like this whole AI revolution has been very interesting because I started with typewriters and you went to the law library to look at books. And so I've lived through a couple of major technological revolutions. I was excited by all of them. And this is just as exciting as when the internet was invented and came to our desktops in law. So it's good. Like I'm busy, 10 grandkids, still refereeing a bit, do CrossFit. Mondays, so people might be interested, like Mondays and Fridays, nothing is scheduled for me. So I do my creative work, either writing articles or, maybe working on something for a case, although that is very little now. And all my appointments are jammed up into Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday between 11 and 4. And so you can get to a place where you design your life, which makes it hard for my team because they're trying to jam things in on those 3 days and we get a little backed up at times, but that's life in the fast lane. You were very instrumental in helping us back in the day, like really accelerate both Ben Glass Law and Great Legal Marketing, accelerate to the world of digital marketing. And you were and are a self-starter, go figure it out, watch YouTube videos, read books and blogs and stuff and go build shit. Like, so that's how I've always viewed you. And now you're highly successful, like CMO, but also coaching. And what I like is you're mentoring and helping really, Tiff, the next generation of, I would call youngins who are in this space. And it's if you just woke up today, like you're starting a law firm or you're starting as a marketing assistant or director for a law firm, it could be freaking overwhelming. And you're one of the ones who helps people separate out what's real from what's not real and to work on the important and not the unimportant. And that's hard. So good for you for helping in that space.
I really appreciate it. Always really enjoyed working for you because you're very even-tempered, honestly, and not every boss is. And you definitely kind of thought through the logic, what we wanted to do and what we tried to do or trying to do. I always really appreciated just working for you and as a boss, and also the snacks there at the office. I kind of really miss that.
Snacks are great. Yeah, the snacks are great. And on the first part, it's like, well, we tell the legal team, like, there's hardly anything here that you can do that would be actually fatal. Like, we have great systems in place, and then we have very smart people running great systems. So we want people to grow. Some people, as you know, Tiff, like they'll come here, they'll grow and they'll leave. Some go to compete with us. Some go to different ventures entirely. That's just all life. I think the thing that I have done most impactful in the space is if you're associated with me in any way, you're a client, you work for me, or you're a GLM member, like you're going to have the opportunity to grow. Whether you take that opportunity or not is up to you, but you're going to be a different person, certainly mindset wise, as you know, like mindset wise, you're going to be a different person after a while if you hang out and sort of listen to my ramblings.
When you bring a new person on, when do you make up your mind about them? How long does it take for them to like earn your trust, win your trust, and for you to feel comfortable kind of letting them go off and learn?
So in the law firm today, people would be interested in knowing that I don't meet people in general, unless it's an attorney level. I don't even meet them until after they're hired and they're probably their third day of work. I may meet them, but we have a meeting around the second or third day of work, like it's a culture talk. Like, here's the history of the firm. Here's what I built, just so you know. Here's the fundamental, like, philosophical beliefs that we have that help us work together. I hope this is going to be a great place for you, Tiffany. Not a great place for everybody. And, we have people leave. We people that cannot move with us to the next level. I want you to have the opportunity to have this be the best place you'll ever work. In order to do that, I need you to be courageous enough to say to me, hey, I'd like this fix or this change. Like, we can't guarantee perfect. I think that's hard for people to understand because no one's ever said that to them. Or if they have said it to them, it hasn't actually been true. We have a 90-day probationary period. You can leave, we can leave. Like, anybody can actually leave anytime, but we are going to work with you. I don't want you to stay here if it's not really great for you. Because if it's not great for you, it's not great for me. It's the hard, as you know, this is the hardest part of business, of small biz, whether it's law firm or whatever. Like, it's the people. Everybody's different. I'm not one that thinks, oh, well, the younger generation is all lazy and full of shit. Because I've had great people. I've had great young people who come through. Some stay, some go, but they're all good people and smart people. So I don't categorize the young as group them into they're all bad or they're all smart. I do think there are certain habits that are not being taught in school. Were I king, I would probably do things differently. But I'm not king. I'm just an entrepreneur who's running a business or two.
Do you miss those times? Because you mentioned earlier, like AI is really cool and exciting, but like you mentioned, like going to the library and doing research. And, as time wears on, because I had to do a little bit of that in college and high school. If you wanted to learn something, you had to go to the library. Do you miss that? Do you think we're going to look back and say that was the way to do it? Or do you think just doing research in 10 minutes that used to take you 2 hours is just a net positive?
So I think there's two parts to this, and it's a great question. So from the legal side, you're my client, I'm helping you. So I don't miss the way we did it in the past because AI allows me to get to the conversation where you and I are going to work on strategy for your case faster, right? Because I can wrap my hands around the evidence. I can wrap my hands around the law a lot faster than it used to be, those AI tools. So that's one side. And I say it allows lawyers to get to their art faster. And our art is giving advice, right? Our art is strategizing with the client. Now, come to my house, I have bookshelves of books, right? I love to read. I'm reading a book about the trucking industry now that just caught my attention in a magazine that I get. It's all about the history of trucking in America and Canada and Australia and regulations and stuff like that. I don't know why that fascinates me, but it's very interesting. I have a whole library, of course, of marketing stuff and sort of philosophical things in the realm of live life big and live your best life. On the learning part, analog books and audiobooks, which I guess is digital, but I don't have any e-readers or anything like that. But AI on the legal side, I have 42 years of knowledge and wisdom and advice giving. And I can get to that so much faster. And I think probably better and more accurately today than we could even 24 and 36 months ago.
It's kind of incredible the leaps and bounds the technology is taking. Because even the way I planned to work at Sharp Cookie and the things that I expected I'd be doing at this company, vastly different, now that we have AI tools that plug into automations and there's so much stuff you can do at the click of a button that used to take a brainstorming meeting, a first draft, a second draft, and things like that. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I might have told it on the podcast, but in college, I very briefly actually worked for a lawyer. He was teaching our philosophy class and was looking for recruits to help him organize his retiring partner's files. And I volunteered, showed up in the office, and they showed me into a boardroom with a table filled with files, just boxes and boxes, completely filled. And I couldn't even tell you what kind of law he practiced looking back. And they were just like, organize these. And I was like, and then I quietly walked out 20 minutes later when I realized I was way in over my head. I couldn't imagine. I still, every now and then I think about it and I was like, what were they expecting me to do? Keep kind of expecting to mature to the point where I understand.
You make a good point there. Finding out when you're tasked with something, like what does done look like? And whoever's giving you the instruction for you, what does done look like? That would have been a really great thing for them to tell you rather than organize these files. So, and that's leadership. We spend a lot of time at Benglass Law. We do our quarterly rocks and we do our things that are outside of the day-to-day to try to continue to build the business and make it a great place. But we're always asking each other, okay, Tiff, like you said you're going to do this thing. How will we know? How will the rest of leadership know if it's done? Let's get real clarity on that. And we have gotten better at defining what done looks like over the years. We were horrible at it at first because everybody like, you don't have the experience, like you're going to be horrible at something. But that's a good thing for any lawyer. It's like if they're coming to you, like to design a marketing program or get more cases or whatever it is, you're asking them, all right, if we look back on this 12 months from now, like what does winning look like? What does done look like? That's a very important question to ask. I should put on a t-shirt.
Well, and I imagine looking back, we would just have AI organize all of those files and it would be done in an afternoon and you wouldn't have to recruit out of college.
But AI would still want to know, like, what are you going to use it for? When they organize, is someone going to come back? Are we giving it to the clients? And that's even in AI, like people miss that prompt. Hey, let me tell you what, the project we're working on, this is how we're going to use it over here. So with that framework, now, Mr. AI tool, like query me, ask me what information you need to do your thing. Did you walk out and realize was that the whole job was in 20 minutes and you never came back?
Yeah, basically. And I came back to class and obviously we had to finish the semester together and he never broached the topic with me. But yeah, it was overwhelming. And I also remember the computer they gave me wouldn't start. They had just went out and bought it for me that morning. And so I felt so bad. I didn't want to tell them it was broken. So yeah, I think it just kind of quietly that way. I don't know why, like I've been thinking about it recently, but it seems so obvious. But AI tools seem like they're posed uniquely to help lawyers because like you guys are reviewing documents and I use AI to review documents and it's just so much simpler. It's just kind of incredible. A tool like this is just making, and I actually set in on an AI case manager demo just like an hour before this meeting. And the lawyer who I was in the demo with was blown away and never seen anything like it. And it's definitely revolutionized. But what do you think about these stories of lawyers getting in trouble in court with AI hallucinated case citations? What do you think is going to be the outcome with that?
They should all just be banned. I mean, that's like, hey, you know, a certain percentage of drivers are going to get arrested for drunk driving because they're stupid. So the AI legal research is such a tiny, tiny part of when you and I talk about AI tools. And you and I know this, but for so many lawyers today, still, Tiffany, like, because you don't run with a lot of regular lawyers. Like the people that you and I run with tend to be the entrepreneurs, the visionaries, the innovators. Like they are keyed into the future. You and I are only dealing with like the top percent of lawyers. There's so many, what I say, regular lawyers who think if you say AI and law, they go like, oh my gosh, bad citation. So that's one part. So that's just careless culture right there. So what's going to happen is at some point, you know, you don't want to be the 432nd lawyer to be publicly shamed for not checking your work. It's just stupid. And there's big firms and some judges have done it. And the mission that you and I are on is in part to say to lawyers, here's some cool ways you can use these tools. So our friend Kellum Parks, Kellum is good on this. I saw him speak a couple of weeks ago. Like he can really get your juices going of all the possibilities. And then I think you have to go, like my advice to lawyers has been just pick 1 to 3 tools. So for me, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude. Like Gemini is out there and Grok. I don't know anything about those things. But I've gotten really good at those 3 tools. And when you do a project actually and have a system for iterating the project through all 3 tools, you come out with something that's pretty good. You still have to apply your lawyer brain to it. So if you're an idiot running AI, then the product is going to be idiotic. But if you've got a smart team who knows the substantive area of law, family law, criminal law, whatever, right? This is a huge competitive advantage. Again, it gets you to your art faster.
That's what I really like about AI because we used to spend so much time writing emails. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I still spend quite a bit of time writing. It just tends to be the stuff I want to write and not this social media post for this day or this thing that 5 people are going to look at maybe their whole lifetime. It's really nice, like you said, to get to your art faster. And that's where I think a lot of people are going to differentiate themselves because if you've always been like a mid-tier worker, kind of do the bare minimum and deliver kind of a crappy work product, that's the type of person AI is going to replace. And that's a crass way of putting it, but I mean, that's the truth.
That's what the horse and buggy drivers said when Henry Ford figured out how to build cars on an assembly line, right? So that's innovation. That's what America is built on, innovation, and it's a good thing. Like disruption is a good thing.
I wanted to ask you about this. When I go on TikTok, I usually see your videos and you're walking out of CrossFit. Are you just going every day? How are you keeping up a routine like that?
So the exercise, so it's not every day because there's 3 things I like doing. So CrossFit, I like bike riding, and I referee soccer games. It depends in part, like the referee schedule is probably primary, although I've cut back. I'm not doing high school games because the energy level required to do that is very high. And we have a lot of really good young male and female referees now. But that would be the driver sort of the rest of the schedule. This time of year, Tiff, it's lighter early. It's warmer. Like, so tomorrow is Friday as we're recording this. Fridays I'll work at home, do my creative. I'll probably go like on a 12 or 15 mile bike ride at some point mid-morning. It'll be beautiful. Nobody will bother me. But I have a tribe of friends at the CrossFit gym. And so at least 3 and sometimes 4 days a week, I'm there. Got good coaches there. I've got tribe at the church, right? Tribe here at the office. Tribe with refereeing. I think that's really the important thing is like what's your friend groups, our human being friend groups. And yeah, so when I'm working out, I try to think, okay, my TikTok stuff sucks, right? But there's no refinement. I just do it and use whatever minimum tools they have. And every so often someone will say I watch. The most important TikTok videos, if you go to Renegade Lawyer, that channel, go all the way back to the beginning when I had my, not transplant, but bypass surgery, right? I recorded the whole journey back, the journey right before the journey back. And I think that has inspired others who have gotten a medical diagnosis and they're going to have a major surgery. I've heard from people that they've been inspired by that. So that's cool. The rest is just an old man rambling, usually before he gets on his bike to ride back home. Whatever came to me while I was doing box jumps or burpees or something that morning. It's not planned. It's not well planned out. It's just for fun. Try not to say too much stupid stuff.
Well, and I think on TikTok, the stupid stuff probably actually gets you more views than the well-reasoned, thought-through stuff. I've been sucking on TikTok for a while myself, and the things that work just seem to be the things that I put no planning in or was just completely silly or something like that. And even LinkedIn's getting that way these days. Social media is a very unserious place to market yourself.
So this is why, we ran before the digital marketing bootcamp, we ran the analog marketing bootcamp. So most of the money that Brian and I make comes because somebody knows us, right? That's where the client journey starts. We spend a lot of time, energy, and money, direct mail, cultivating referral sources, trying to be interesting, trying to stay in front of people every single month with something that isn't just a plain old ad, like tell interesting stories and make interesting offers. And that's work. Somebody commented on one of my things, that sounds like really slow. But yeah, it is. But we're building equity. 83% of our money, and our money is really good, comes because of that work, right? Versus going out and buying a digital ad or LSA. And we do all of that in some small portion. For us, sometimes, we're investing in LSAs because we think anecdotally it seems to help our Google My Business profile pages, right? I don't know if it does or it doesn't, but seems like our data shows that it does. The mistake a lot of lawyers make is they try to keep up with these firms that can spend a ton of money, whether it's on a TV or billboard or digital marketing. If you're going to play in that pool, you better be a top spender. You can win in that pool, but you got to be a top spender. We like to my friend Dan Kennedy calls this making money in the dark. I can send you a letter that's 8 pages of interesting stuff to convince you to maybe refer your disability cases to us, and nobody else sees it. Nobody knows what's going on, but I'm cultivating you. And what do I need? I need a handful of people like you, like our top referral sources, and I'm good. I'm good for the year. And it's what I like to do. I like to write those pieces. And then, honest to goodness, because we're just having a private conversation here, battling with my young marketing director, who I love very dearly, Lauren, who's like, no, it's got to be shorter. It's got to be like a postcard. I'm like, call Dan Kennedy, ask him if you're right, because I think you're wrong, but we can test. Well, you take half the list and do your thing. I'll take half the list and do my thing, and we'll have data. That's the fun I get to have running the law. Now I'm in trouble because I know I'm going to be in trouble for having just said that.
I'll help you out a little bit because I was looking at your guys' website because I'm not hung up on Ben Glass Law or anything. But no, I was just looking at your AHRS profile. And you guys, it looks like, have done really well in SEO scores in the last 6 months. And, it could just be one reporting tool, maybe not reflecting what's happening on the inside. But I looked and your domain authority really took off. I kind of want to pick Lauren's brain and see what she's been doing. Because you guys still consult with Hennessy and manage the SEO in-house. Is that?
Yeah, they're running it. No. Sarah, we did that for 6 months and saw how good it was. And we hired him. God bless Jason and Hennessy Digital. We paid them a lot of money. And they have been very good for us, right? And it's not to say that the digital is unimportant. I want to draw a slight distinction between the website and what people see when they're referred to us and they come and have a great experience there versus trying to get cold leads by buying leads or buying digital ads. That's a space where I think you do need a lot of money. You need an expert who's going to run it for you 24/7, right? Or you're going to get smoked. And that's just a place that we have consciously decided to not really play in because the website itself converts. We convert a high number of the avatar clients that come to us. And we also invest in, as you know, you've met Krista Morgan, our sales person, intake person. She's awesome. She knows who we're looking for and she sells the deal. And they hardly ever talk to a lawyer before being sold on the deal. If you're spending all this other money, you don't have a good person answering the phone and good systems for answering the phone, then you're just being an idiot because it's burn money. Let's go burn money. Let's not answer the phones well or leave it randomly to some paralegal who's not busy, but they are busy and now they're pissed off the phone rang. We're blessed with people at key positions that are really, really important. So Lauren is really, really important. Everybody's important, but Krista Morgan doing the intake and sales, really, really important.
You might be surprised at the number of attorneys that I talk to, or maybe not, who I discover they're doing their whole intake process. And not just Jason Epstein in Seattle. It does all of his intakes, or one of the lawyers on his team does, but that's the last part of it. That's the closing. I'm talking to a lot of attorneys that from beginning to end, they're the point of contact and they're the ones reaching out to people, calling and sending in forms to the firm. I'll be honest, it surprises me that I'm the one teaching the lesson that you, the business owner, don't need to be answering your phones that way. I don't know. Could you help me out in terms of what I should be saying to these attorneys who are kind of still doing?
It's hard because their ego says no one could do this as good as I can, and the reality is, the objective reality is lawyers are issue spotters. And so we're more likely to see something negative in a case than someone whose job it is to convince. What Krista does really well is she reaffirms the great decision that the person made to call us or to fill out a form. You have called the right place. We are going to try to help you. These guys and gals here are very good at what they do. We forget how scary it is to call us. So your job, we all have 24 hours. Their lawyer's main job, again, we talked about this, is their art, strategize for clients. But everybody goes through this because firms typically grow from very small to where the lawyer is doing everything or most everything, or he or his partner or his spouse or somebody, they're doing everything. So there is that stage. And I think what your job would be to do is to say, hey, I've seen these other firms in your space, but now as they grow and they get better at this and this, one of the big keys is they don't have the lawyer doing all the parts of intake. Again, you're losing time from doing production, which is what you get paid for. But it's an ego deal. And some lawyers just think that a non-attorney salesperson would never work. And that's objectively not true. Like we've seen it over and over again across the country.
Well, just so the attorneys who listen to me don't think I'm picking on them, but I feel like it's a universal business owner problem because I bucked up against that where I'm resistant to hire because I'm like, oh, it'll be too expensive to find somebody who to do that. And then I realize it's an ego thing. It's like, no, it probably wouldn't be. I'm thinking about replacing myself when really I should be thinking about replacing this one part.
The expensive thing is interesting because A, you don't have to pay the whole salary tomorrow. Like you're going to pay tomorrow's wage tomorrow, number one. Number two, you help lawyers figure out what is the lifetime value of a client? Like what is your sold case worth? And I know that you impress upon them if they don't know that number to develop a system that tells them that number. And then you help them figure out like what's the cost of acquiring the next client. So then you go, well, then you reverse engineer and go, well, if we had someone who was totally dedicated and good at answering the phone and we got whatever, 2 more clients a month, depend on transaction size, all that stuff, then they pay for themselves. Well, most are going to be better than adding only 2 more clients a month, especially if your marketing isn't any good and you're driving potential clients down that sales funnel. So that math is, the problem is that most lawyers don't have the data to do the math. They could do the math if they had the data. They have bad systems and don't really know. Or they'll say, I'm sure you've heard this, I'm a personal injury lawyer. I get all over the place. I never know if it's a big case or a little case, and I never know feast or famine. I used to think that too, but that's, again, not true. As you grow and you learn to keep track of things better. And I think that's what you've really helped lawyers do is, hey, let's also help build the tech stack. I know you don't want to be the one to build it for them, but hey, here's the tools that these other successful firms that are 2 years ahead of you are using. They all thought it was expensive when they invested in the tool, but now they're crushing it. They're looking for the next level tool. That's your job to just show example after example of and help these lawyers vision what they can build their firm into. Because again, what am I all about? Like build a firm that suits your life. Like figure out what you want your life to be. You and your life partner, your spouse, whatever that arrangement is. Like what do you guys want? You don't know how many days you have on earth. It's meant to be lived in your happiness. Let's be really clear on what that is. Now let's build a firm that supports that. Now let's go and attract a client that supports the firm that supports the life. All right. And so most lawyers, sadly, don't give any thought at all to that. They don't even know that they're allowed to think of themselves and their families first. And I think that's absolutely critical.
Maybe you haven't had this particular struggle that I'm about to describe, but like, and for this is mainly for like new people starting a business like me, but how do you get past delegating work to somebody that you know you could do? Like there's a little bit of guilt there. It's like, oh, I could do this, but I'm asking them to do it. And, just kind of getting into that rhythm, I guess, of delegating. Like, how do you get past that like fear or guilt or maybe insecurity? If that's how I could define it.
So it's weird because it's like, this is a crappy thing. I'm doing it. And I wouldn't want someone else to have to do this crappy thing. Know this, first of all, that for everything that we don't like doing or aren't very good at, we think is a crappy thing. Like there's somebody in the world who would be driven by that, right? Whose life would light up. We just have to go and find them. The second thing is Dan Kennedy taught me a long time ago, if you're a $100 an hour person or a lawyer is like a $1,500 an hour lawyer, like you shouldn't be doing $100 tasks. And if you have nothing else to do, like go work on your marketing, like go work on your systems, right? And so I think everybody kind of goes through that phase. Again, it's ego. Nobody can do it as good as I can. I want it done my way. Well, that's bullshit. Like, no, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And actually the person you're delegating to can probably figure out a better way to do it than you are, number one. Number two, today in 2026, you have access to people from all over the world and you have companies and agencies who will help you find people. So I don't have to hire someone who can drive to my office in Fairfax anymore, right? We've got folks in Honduras, we've got folks in the Philippines, we've got folks in Texas, people who like what they're doing. I'll end with this is like, you try it, you'll get addicted to it. Because you think, I'm Tiffany, like, what do I like doing that can move the needle of the business or my life, right? What if I could free up more time? That's why like Mondays and Fridays, I like doing the creative. I like thinking. I like trying to figure out the AI tool, right? And so I have this whole block of uninterrupted time to do that. In order to do that, I got to delegate half my stuff. So I have a virtual assistant, all the email, all the scheduling. She gets the first crack at all of that. All my PowerPoints, all my podcast production, guest invites, and post-production. Claire in the Philippines does all of that for me, frees up time for me to do what I like to do. And then I don't feel bad about that anymore. She's making more money working for me than she would in her local economy. She's working for somebody cool. That's ego. I think I'm cool, so you get to work with me, right? And gets to work with our team. Gets to learn technologies that she had not been introduced to. So it's win-win-win. So we're looking for these win-win relationships. So anybody that has that, I would say this, Tiff, any lawyer who's listening to this, who has that issue, figuring that out, come talk to me. I'll talk to you. I'll sell you on the ideal that you should be delegating and to others and elevating yourself to your highest and best use of your time, the things you actually like doing that can move the needle.
I'll share my recently discovered hack for delegating better, I guess I could say, which is to work from my phone as long as I can in the mornings. And obviously I do meetings from my desktop, but I can email on my phone and I can update project management boards. But I can't get distracted and find myself 20 minutes deep in building something that I just found myself intrigued by, and I can't get distracted. The phone, little screen, one thing at a time. And that's really worked for me here of late.
Well, a lot of people that wouldn't work, they would be distracted by the phone. But if that's what works for you and you go out, sit on the back deck or whatever it is for your house, especially this time of year, that's awesome. Now you've elevated your life, because it is nice to not have a commute. And those days that I don't have a commute are just so much better.
I don't know. I'm at that point where it's man, I'm starting to miss getting out of the house. I got to I keep saying this, but I need to find my own office soon, even if it's just a small sublet place somewhere. I need to get out of the house. I'm going crazy.
Plenty of them out there as well. That market is pretty wide open.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Ben. Why don't you tell people how to look you up, learn more about you, and learn more about GLM?
Sure. So you can go see the law firm stuff at Ben Glass Law. You can find Great Legal Marketing at greatlegalmarketing.com. If you don't already have the full notes and slides from our last 3-day hoopla we call the summit, go to glmsummitnotes.com. You can download it absolutely for free. And we're the only conference that does that. That post-conference creates a very robust set of notes and slides and gives them to you whether or not you attended the conference, because we believe that a rising tide lifts all boats, and the world is full of cases for lawyers, and we share everything.
Well, thanks again. Really appreciate you coming on the show today. And thanks for everyone who listened, and we'll see everyone soon.